Hello everyone, and I hope you're having a nice Wednesday. Wednesday here on my channel means it's time for a crack-a-pack. My channel mostly focuses on limited, so when I open these packs, I'm going to talk about them in the context of what would we first pick. I'll talk about every card and what I think about it in limited, but talk about, most of all, what I would like to first pick out of this pack. So let's see what we have in it. Our first card is Ancient Crab. It's a fine common that's playable. Ancient Crab is good in a control deck if you're trying to slow your opponents down on the ground. Any sort of grindy deck likes to have it, but you definitely don't want to be first picking it. Next, we have Desert Cerodon, a 6-mana 6/4 with cycling for 1 red. He's way better than he looks because he does something at all stages of the game, unlike your average 6-mana 6/4. You still don't want to first pick him, but I'm pretty down with playing him in basically any red deck. Next, we have Forsake the Worldly, which for 3 mana can exile an artifact or enchantment. There's a lot of enchantments in this set, and there's a decent number of artifacts. Some people mainboard this, especially because it has cycling. I usually start it in my sideboard unless I have some cycling payoffs, though. Definitely don't want to first pick it either way. Next, we have Compelling Argument, which is a very efficient cycler, but it's terrible other than that. I only mainboard this if I have, like, Drakehaven or something. If you don't have big payoffs for cycling, it's basically just 1 blue, draw a card, which is okay, but not great. You can find better things to do. Next, we have Initiate's Companion, a 2-mana 3/1, who, when it deals combat damage, can untap a creature or land. It doesn't actually happen very often, as I'm sure you know if you've played this format. He also dies to a single -1/-1 counter. He's a fine 2-drop, don't get me wrong, but you don't want to be first picking him. You'll get him pretty late. Pitiless Vizier is next. He's a nice little cycling payoff. He's the kind of card that you can just attack with, and your opponent's just like, dear God, if they have I can't block because if they have a card with cycling, my guy's is just going to die and theirs is fine. And that happens a lot. So even if you don't have a card with cycling. So right now, Pitiless Vizier is our best card. I'm not like super thrilled about first picking one, and hopefully we don't have to, but that's our best card so far. Next, though, we have Compulsory Rest. It's pacifism. I like it in this format. It's a first pickable common. Some people say, obviously it's not as good as pacifism, and that's obvious because the opponent can actually gain some life out of it, but it's not as big of a downside as you'd think. Yes, they get to gain some life, but at least they have to spend mana to do it. This card would still be good if they just had sacrificed that creature to gain 2 life or something like that on it. Like, it would still be playable if that's what it said, but making them pump mana into it and shutting down their best creature is definitely worth it. So right now we're on Compulsory Rest as our first pick. Next we have River Serpent, another 1-mana cycler who's mediocre if you cast him, but can cycle. And because of that, because it's sort of a split card who can draw you a card and in the late game is a big monster who can win you the game, he's a decent card, and I play him in plenty of blue decks, but I don't first pick him. Next, we have Horror of the Broken Lands. This is a pretty good card I've first picked a few times in weak packs. Compulsory Rest is better than it, but it's a strong card. It's a strong cycling payoff, better than the Pitiless Vizier, partly because it itself has cycling, so it fits. When you're building a cycling deck, you're like, I need cards with cycling and I need payoffs. This is both, so that's a nice thing to have. Next, we have Sunscorched Desert, which is terrible and shouldn't be played unless maybe you're in a super aggressive monocolored deck, and having this in your deck doesn't hurt your mana very much, but the other deserts are better. Okay, I think we may have a new first pick, but this one is one that I think is worth debating and talking about, and that is Start to Finish. So it's basically a gold card. If you can only play the white half, it's okay. It's not great. But if you can play the black half too, it is great. It's a very good removal spell if you can pay both halves. You don't even have to do it in the same turn because Start is an instant. So at the end of your opponent's turn, you can say Start, make 2 warrior tokens, and then on your turn you can cast Finish, which allows you to sack a creature and destroy a creature. So basically, in a way, this is like 6 mana, play a 1/1 and destroy target creature, which is a very playable card. But it also has the flexibility to do 1/2 whenever you want to, basically. You can start once in the early game and not actually use Finish, and then use Finish much later in the game if you want to. That flexibility is nice. I think I like it more than Compulsory Rest. It is gold, so I could see taking Compulsory Rest over it, but I think I'm going to take Start to Finish right now in this pack. Next, we have By Force, one of the cards that was clearly put in this set because of Constructed. It's an okay sideboard card, but you don't want it. First pick it. You don't want it in your main board even. Not enough artifacts in this format. Okay, next, another good white card. This pack has some good white cards in it. We've got Vizier of Deferment. I like this card a lot because of its flexibility. It can exile a creature who's having a combat trick used on it. It can exile your creature who your opponent's using removal on. It can exile your creature who has an enter the battlefield ability. Like, at a minimum, it can allow you to block with a guy and exile it so it doesn't die, so you can block with it again. It just does a million different things. It can make auras fall off of creatures. It does a lot of things, and I like the card a lot. Still think Start to Finish and Compulsory Rest are better than it, but it's closer now. Okay, well, we got yet another really good rare. Seems like I'm on a roll with those lately. We have Vizier of Many Faces, which I think we had in one of our first Crack-A-Pack videos, and that's just what we take now. We just take the rare. It's very good. It's always, at worst, going to be the best creature in play when it comes into play, and that's a pretty good thing to be your worst-case scenario. Plus, it has freaking Embalm, so it can come back from your graveyard and do it all over again. You can really abuse it if your deck has Enter the Battlefield abilities. It's pretty awesome if you can, but it's good even if you're just making it the best creature or whatever. But you can use your opponent's Enter the Battlefield abilities. The Vizier is definitely the first pick, followed by Start to Finish, and then Compulsory Rest. This was a pretty strong pack, though, in general. Let me know in the comments what you would first pick, and don't forget to post in the comments below to enter into a giveaway to win all of the month of June's Crack-A-Packs, and you'll be getting them in a Ultra Pro deck box. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.